it just occurred to me that, we're in quarantine and COVID-19 is like worrying a lot of people. I have like the weirdest sense of comedic irony sometimes because it didn't occur to me that I was reviewing a post-apocalyptic game during a time like this. That's kind of fucked up. I'm just gonna keep going with the video. Hey guys, what's up? This is Diego here at Cinemageddon Reviews. If you're a video game fan like me, you've probably played or at least heard about The Last of Us. And in anticipation for the upcoming sequel coming out in May, let's talk about that original smash hit. So here is my review of The Last of Us. Now, I just want to let you guys know before we get started that this video is going to contain spoilers for the game. So if you haven't played it, 1, what are you doing? 2, go to your PlayStation store. Don't go out to a GameStop or whatever because they're all closed, probably. And purchase an online digital copy of The Last of Us, play it, catch up, and then come back to this video. Alright, so now that you've been warned, let's get right into the game. So as you all know, The Last of Us comes from the game studio known as Naughty Dog, the same studio that brought us Crash Bandicoot, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter, among other countless classic games. In fact, at one point they even gave us one classic game within another classic game, because they're just that awesome.
Crash Bandicoot.
Is there a problem?
No, just how do you make it go?
But anyway, The Last of Us is lauded today not only as one of Naughty Dog's best games, but also as one of the greatest video games ever made, period. In fact, when you look at the amount of hard work and the sheer talent that went into making this game, it really comes as no surprise. You could almost consider this a movie because of how good it is. So here's a very sad story. I made a horrible mistake when The Last of Us first came out. At the time, I didn't have that much money, and I did way too much research, and I fell in love with the game before I ever played it. And months would go by without me playing it, and all my friends at school who had played it were talking to me. It's like, dude, you gotta play it, it's so good, it's like one of the best games ever made, it's like my favorite game ever, it's so good on the story, the gameplay, all that stuff. And I started to get really antsy. And back then I was really skeptical about the games that I played. You can't go to a screening for a game like you can with a movie when it comes out in theaters. So, not having any money and completely losing my patience because I just didn't want to wait for the money to come, I watched playthroughs of it on YouTube. I spoiled the whole thing for myself from beginning to end. And you know, I don't have that many regrets in life, but that's one of those things that really haunts me. The more and more I grow to love and appreciate this game. Somebody hand me my Razzie already, because I'll never be an actor. So, for its time, the graphics were pretty good. They're not as good now because they haven't aged as well, but one thing that has aged really well is the gameplay. This is a survival-style third-person shooter video game where you have to conserve your ammo, conserve your health, and use stealth and strategy to take out your enemies and survive. And because of that, the game is still, to this day, a lot of fun to play. But where this game really excels is the story. The fact that a video game could have this good of a story for its time was unprecedented. And keep in mind, during this time we started to take video games a lot more seriously, but you could say that The Last of Us is what elevated that to a whole new level, or at least played a big part in that.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
In fact, the story in this game is so good that this is the reason why I hate the movie Logan. And I have no qualms about saying it either. This movie is a slap in the face to Wolverine, it's a slap in the face to screenwriting, and it's a slap in the face to The Last of Us. I hate the movie Logan so much. Let's just keep talking about The Last of Us because I feel like I'm gonna explode. So the story in The Last of Us is quite simply about finding something to fight for, even in the darkest of times. even one person can become the whole world to you. And to let that go can sometimes be a greater crime than to let the world die. And that's why the story works so well. It not only showcases that, but also that you don't necessarily have to be related to be family. And that's what made the game so popular, because at the end of the game, Joel makes that choice, his love for Ellie over the fate of mankind. And whether his choices come back to bite him in the ass still remains to be seen, but I think that we can all agree that the game would not have been anywhere near as special if Joel had chosen to let Ellie die. We all love Ellie, we're all rooting for Ellie, so we can also understand why Joel made that choice. Speaking of Joel and Ellie, the dynamic between these two wouldn't work as well without the amazing performances by Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. Their chemistry is so great, their father-daughter relationship is so authentic that you can't help but fall in love with them. In fact, the whole game really has great performances all around. You got Jeffrey Pierce as Tommy, W. Earl Brown as Bill, and Nolan North as David. Holy shit. Nathan Drake is one of the villains in this game? I can't believe it took me this long to find that out. And of course, let's not forget the amazing score by Gustavo Santaolalla. This is probably my favorite video game score that I've ever heard. The acoustic guitar, the violins, the percussion instruments, it's iconic in its own way. So The Last of Us has a DLC called Left Behind. It's one of the few single-player DLCs that I've ever seen. It's not as good. The overall structure and the way that the story's written is good. It's just that a lot of times the dialogue can get pretty cringy. Apart from that one flaw, it's fine. And I like the relationship between Ellie and Riley. In fact, I almost cried when they kissed.
Don't go.
The Last of Us also has online multiplayer that nobody ever touched that I know of. I tried it once like 3 years ago. I didn't like it and I never touched it again. Naughty Dog's not really known for having good multiplayer, but anyone who's ever played anything from Naughty Dog will tell you that they don't care. And neither do I, because those games, the whole reason you play them is for the story. In fact, the team behind The Last of Us 2 announced that they're not going to have multiplayer in that game because barely anyone ever plays it anyway. So to sum it all up, The Last of Us sucks balls. It's a terrible game. Don't play it. I'm kidding, of course. It's an awesome game. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. It's a great survival strategy game and a beautifully written story about family and holding on to your loved ones. And I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
To the edge of the universe and back. Endure and survive.
I'm excited for The Last of Us 2, and I'm also excited for the HBO series that's coming out soon. So in case you haven't heard, the HBO series is being developed by Neil Druckmann, the guy who developed the video games, as well as Chernobyl's Craig Mazin. In fact, Chernobyl is going to be my next review, so stay tuned for that. As always, if you're watching this on Facebook, be sure to give us a like, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching Cinemageddon Reviews. My name's Diego, and we'll see you guys next time.